Welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys are enjoying, having a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the big wide world. We're back. We're live. We're streaming once again. So we are going to start off today with some drama. Now, of course, we're going to be playing the Bullet Brawl later. Most people here want to see actual chess. You want to see the carved wooden pieces on that nice, majestic wooden board being moved, or of course on your screen with online chess. But most people are here for the actual chess itself, so we should not forget that. However, there is some drama we do need to cover. So there was a tweet, and I believe this tweet was last night at some point by the famous Grandmaster Levon. No drama, please. No drama. Well, unfortunately, I didn't really want to cover this, but I kind of felt compelled to. So we are going to talk about. Let me get a sip of water. All right, so there's a tweet from Levon Aronian. He was a longtime world #2 player in the world, one of the most respected grandmasters, somewhat past his prime, still around the top 10 in the world, but someone that I think almost everybody pretty much universally holds in pretty high esteem. So the tweet from Levon was last night, and it says the following. It says, "Dear VB Kramnik," this of course would be Vladimir Kramnik. It says, actually, can you guys see it? I think you can, right? Yeah, it's big enough. You guys can see it. It says, "Forgive me for addressing you publicly, but I feel that the chess world and the new generation needs to know about who you are, and I want you to remember it as well." Vlad, you have always been an inspiration to me and to the majority of people who know you, as just like you dedicated their lives to chess. Now, this of course is important as well to note that I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people nowadays, I think people have a pretty good understanding, but you dedicate your entire life to chess. To get to be a top, say, 20 player in the world, you literally spend all your waking hours studying chess, playing chess. It's a very tough lifestyle. I've spoken about that as well separately, but you spend all your time on the game. And as Aronian says here, he's basically saying from one professional to another, or colleague, whatever you want to call it, that you have to respect that. So the first time I ever got to spend a longer time with you was in Paris in 2005. I visited you for a short time to train with you, but soon I understood that a person with such a fanatical approach is so far from my personality that I can't even learn to work like that and be so deeply dedicated to chess. During that time, you were recovering from some health issues, and the world was bullying you for not being a dominating proper champion, despite you winning 2 world championship matches against none other than Gary Kimovich Kasparov and Peter Leko, who you beat in the last game. Now, one bit of clarification here that I do want to add about this is that he did win the match against Kramnik, but the match against Leko, Kramnik did not actually win that match. He won the final game of the match, so the match ended up tied. I believe it was 6-6. I think it was a 12-game match. I could be wrong on the total number, but the match ended up tied, so that was actually a tied match. But at the time, the chess world was in a situation where the world champion held onto the title if the match was a tie. This was not the only time it was like that. For anybody who thinks this was some Kramnik privilege, it was something pretty standard. Chat, what are we reading? We are reading a tweet from Levon Aronian last night about Vladimir Kramnik, who is currently suing David Navarro. So it says, then came your match with Topalov in 2006, where you showed so much character after scandalous Toiletgate that to me was another act of bullying against you. Now, this is very, very ironic, because I would bet that of the people watching, probably 5% of the people watching are familiar with what I'm talking about. But basically what happened is when Vladimir Kramnik played a match against Veselin Topalov, the world championship match, I believe it was in 2006. If I'm not mistaken, it could have been 2005. They played a world championship match, and very early on in the match, Kramnik was accused of cheating. Basically, what happened is Kramnik was going to the bathroom too frequently, and they were saying that he had some kind of device, or there were some cables, or there was something in the toilet. Now, I think that has pretty much universally been debunked in terms of Topalov's claims, but nonetheless, it is pretty ironic that Kramnik had to deal with this back then. Honestly, around that time after you won, I felt like this heroism that you displayed in those kind of years nullified the unfair circumstances that led you to the match against Kasparov in 2000. It was a sign that you were here to change the game. Then your brilliant career continued, your opening innovations, incredible spirit, making you a top 10 player in the history of chess. Okay, so In my eyes, you will always be someone who was bullied and fairly fought for justice. I will never forget how many times you gave me your helping hand and advised me. How many times have you pushed me towards chess when I was in a state of despair? If I exclude my first coaches, you together with Boris Gelfand and Gabriel Sargsyan are my chess parents. I think that most of my chess DNA, I think he means DNA, I think he means DNA, but anyway, it doesn't matter. DNA comes from you. My dear friend, I want to share something I feel that I haven't yet shared with you. The last few years after you retired, to my surprise, I saw a different Vladimir Kramnik that I never knew existed. Now, I'm going to say this, and I think this is kind of important to some degree. Like the extreme to which things have gone to is quite different, but I will say that, you know, having been around the chess world for a long time, having seen Kramnik at tournaments, Kramnik has always had certain views or certain slants on some things that would not be considered mainstream, I guess you could say. That's the simplest thing that I would say. Did something happen that made Levon post this last night, specifically like the lawsuit got filed yesterday? I don't know specifically like that. I'm going to get to it at the end of this, I think, is going to be my plan. Okay. Vlad, that may be because the new chess world does not appreciate you enough. Sports fans, organization, unfortunately, have a short memory. A person who faced so much public pressure and turned against the chess world. Vladimir, brother, ask all of your chess friends. Nobody thinks that what you're doing is good and pure. You're fighting your own demons, and I can understand how much it drains you, both mentally and physically. Nice attempt by Levon, but Vlad is beyond repair. Well, I'm covering it because I feel like I should cover it. I should cover it. That's what I feel like. You know, I've avoided a lot of stuff recently, but I feel like I should talk about it. So, this is one thing actually that's very important, and you know, I would actually speak from my own personal experience. I don't think there's a desync in video or audio, but speaking from my own personal experience, you know, I think it is a shame that the world we live in, with every passing generation, you know, it's like you forget the pioneers, and it's not just chess, it's many different things, but it's like one of these situations where you have was Kramnik bullied by the chess world? I wouldn't say he was bullied by the chess world, but one thing, since most people weren't here back then, is in 2006, I believe it was 2005, 6, whenever that match with Topalov happened, basically everyone and their brother was trying to help Kramnik. I believe that even I believe Kasparov offered his help. I believe Anand offered his help. I think even Magnus offered his help. Literally all the top players were trying to help him so that he could beat Topalov because of what was going on. So I don't think it was the entire chess world, but anyway, back to the point that I was making here, because I don't want to end up on these long side tangents, is that the fact is, it's like, you know, some people, is like, there's a classic meme, is like someone made a sacrifice so that someone else could fly, and I feel like with chess that's definitely true. Chess is built upon the previous generations. The previous generations have led chess to where it is today. In many cases we forget about these people, we forget about them, but that's just the reality. That's just the reality. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's chess or anything else. That's just how it goes. But let's keep going. A long time ago, I read somewhere that most of the murderers are committed because of disrespect. Vladimir, guys like Daniel and David are not the ones you should be having a vendetta against. I love them for what they are, perhaps a bit introverted, but lacking any side of evil in them. I know you as the biggest revolutionary when it comes to chess. You challenge every single dogma and prove that you understand the core of chess like nobody before or after you. As I asked you as a friend who has always been open and honest to you, please challenge your convictions. You think you are saving chess from cheaters, but most of us see you as the guy with the hammer who thinks everything is a nil. Now, I think this is also very important here. This is a very, very good analogy by Aronian. I think it's very, very apt. About being a hammer, thinking everything is a nail, thinking that, you know, everything is evil or whatever it might be. I think it's a very, very good analogy. Okay. We are a family. We can't go suing or threatening each other for some weird online analysis that in most cases doesn't make sense. We all have many friends in the world of mathematics. If you want, let's unite everyone and make a proper unbiased analysis, but let us start from a fresh page. Your friend, your fan, and your little brother, Levon Aronian. So, there was one thing that I want to say, and this whole thing about dogmas and challenging things, this reminds me of a very important point that I want to make. Some years back, I was reading Garry Kasparov's My Great Predecessors, and I believe it was in the intro to the first book. There was a section about, like, why do world champions become weaker? Like, why do the best players in the world not stay the best for like 50 years? And Garry said that what happens is that, and this was as far as chess knowledge goes, is that you calcify. Calcify was the specific word that Garry used, and it's like there's something that fundamentally changes in the game that you don't understand and you aren't able to incorporate into your game. And I would say that when we talk about this topic as a whole, and maybe I should say this for later, but I already started talking about it, is that when you look at the game of chess is changing a lot. I will say this from my own personal experience. Just 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I played in London in this World Rapid and Blitz Team Championship, and I lost this game to this 13-year-old kid. But what you'd be surprised to know is that actually of the kids that I played in that event, that was not the worst game. I never should have lost to the Azerbaijani kid, but the final game of the Rapid portion, I played another kid who was rated like 2300 with black pieces. He made almost no errors until quite deep in the game, and in fact, I was actually losing that game as well. And so when we talk about calcifying or things changing, the fact is, as chess goes, there's so much information out there now that kids are getting so good so fast that trying to say like someone's like 2200, 2300, they can't play this way, that's just not the reality anymore. Chess itself is changing immensely. It's changed like so much, I would say, in the last 5 to 6 years specifically. So that's the first bit we want to cover. Now we're going to cover the response from Kramnik. Let me adjust the scene. Let me adjust, or that's the wrong tab. Here we go. Okay, so let's cover this. Okay, here we go. We're going to cover this bit. This is a reply. This is apparently in English. Okay, there we go. Let me make this a little bit smaller. This, I believe, is multiple pages for anyone who's wondering. This should be good. Let me pull this down just a touch. All right, there we go. So we're going to cover this reply from Kramnik. Yeah, it says, or is this page 1 or page 2? I don't know. Oh, here's page 1. It says, Levon, you understand perfectly well, like, or is this page 1? Let me go back. No, this is page 1. Okay. It says, Dear Levon, let me also publicly tell you, one of the few people in the current chess world for whom I still have respect, and in principle a desire to explain something, the truth to your face with the hope of getting through. The current chess world is mired in hypocrisy, duplicity, having lost the most basic moral principles. However, we can also remove the word chess from the phrase. I don't understand this at all. But yeah, so for anybody who's asking about calcification, yeah, I mean, Gary used that word in his great predecessors, and maybe it's not a direct comparison, but I think you guys get the point. Okay, it says, let me also publicly tell you I read this part, sorry. It says, the current chess world is mired in hypocrisy, duplicity, having lost moral basic principles. However, we can also remove the word chess from the phrase. You know the reason. It's as old as the world. Metal for which people die, and on which one well-known structure rules the ball. You are one of the few remaining people in the chess world who understand the reference in this phrase without going into chat. Does he mean chat GPT? I think that means chat GPT. I guess it's a translation, but it means chat GPT. And it says, the whole choir of obedient orchestra members with a wave of the baton of the conductor we know is ready to play any music they are told. This is their bread. Love comes and goes, but you always want to eat. Now, this is something that I find very funny, not only as it relates to chess, but as it relates to basically the world as a whole. Like, this notion that people can be controlled, or you tell someone to do something or do that, like, that's just not how it works. And I will actually, I'll make another reference point. Which is that I think most people know that I had a very, very big role. In fact, I was the first really big streamer. I was the first person who benefited the most during the pandemic from chess. And I tried very hard to help many content creators become very big and have great success. Now, and the reason I'm using this analogy, it's probably not the best one to use specifically, is because when I look at chess and what was going on in 2020 or 2021 to today, this is not the way where chess is right now. This is not the dream that I had or the vision that I had when chess started blowing up on the internet during the heart of the pandemic. And so like this notion that you can control people or do things, like, I don't know. I think I have some idea of who he's talking about when he says that who are the members and who's waving the baton. But just from my own personal experience during the pandemic and trying to grow chess online, I can tell you that how you the vision you have and how things turn out are very different, and you cannot like control people or tell people what to do. Like, that's just not how it works. So it's very funny when I see these sorts of things. Okay, it says, and in order to drown out, still disturbing to some, the inner voice of conscience convince themselves and each others of their moral righteousness. Or their moral rightness, I should say, ignoring reality and facts. As one of the classics said, the scale of a person's personality shows his ability to accept the truth. An ancient Greek also said something in his myth about a cave, by the way. Even though it's been a long time and who cares about him with a small number of subscribers and modest financial success, is that the case? The same Levy Rosman, for example. Now, this is also going to be a great spot. So I'm trying to understand what it says. Even though it's been a long time, who cares about it with small number of subscribers? Is that the case? The same Levy Rosman. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kramnik's saying something about Levy here. I love the quote unquote modest financial success. I mean, it's not necessarily my place to say this, but I think I will say this nonetheless. If making multiple millions of dollars a year is a modest success, then hey, I'm gonna raise a glass to Levy. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna raise a glass to Levy. If making a few $1,000,000 a year is modest financial success, cheers, Levy. Cheers, Hikaru. Congratulations. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay. I have never been guided by the opinion of the crowd because I know its value, and so are you. This opinion is created by those who use those who want to spend their whole lives in a cozy cave for their financial interests, and without a doubt they despise and mock their obedient flock among themselves. Read the Grand Inquisitor again. The genius understood everything even then and explained it all to us, those who are able to perceive it. Okay, let's keep going. Good luck trying to make sense. Yeah, I mean, I just find it funny. Modest financial success. Levy's making multiple millions a year. Okay, that's and I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I don't really care. I mean, I think Levy. I'm obviously very proud of Levy and the success he's had. And honestly, I think Kramnik hearing this, that's only going to make him angrier. I will say that. That's only going to make him angrier. Levon, you understand perfectly well, like many strong chess players with whom I'm correspondent, what is the scale of cheating in modern online chess? Now, when Kramnik says many strong chess players, he almost certainly is referring to Russian chess players specifically. And we don't even need to get into that can of worms, but I mean, I've heard so much stuff, you know, whether it's directly or indirectly, stuff like Nepo and others, like it just like it's completely, it's very, very questionable. Also, the other thing that's important to note is who is Kramnik's ear that could get through anyone at all? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm so proud of Levy, of course. I mean, of course. Why shouldn't you be? Why shouldn't you be? Well, I mean, like that's if that's modest financial success, like, hey, more power to him. If you had spent even a small part of the time that I spent collecting and analyzing data, you would have multiplied it by 2 at once. But even without that, you understand, let's be honest, no one is listening yet, about the nature of success of some well-known online talents. I like the expression which I saw somewhere on the internet. Now, Kramnik here, effectively, as I read it, he's basically saying Levon doesn't know how to do multiplication. He doesn't know how to do 2 times 2. In my understanding of ethics, it's hard to find a more disgusting theft than, for example, having dinner with a friend, going out for a minute and reaching into his jacket pocket and stealing a couple $100. But this is exactly what is happening now in chess on a regular basis, and everyone calmly continues to observe this, pretending not to notice. Now, I love this statement here. I mean, this is just also kind of crazy. I don't care how the chess world perceives these scum calling a spade, reaching into the pocket of colleagues. I mean, accounts are getting banned on chess.com. Like, accounts are getting banned. That's just the reality. They are. The daddy who protects all this outrage, organizes new tournaments, compensates, and will not leave you without your daily bread. He's generous. It's okay. We'll be patient. And if it really feels like it, we'll get into someone else's pocket ourselves once almost everyone does it, and so we can. And the boss does not scold for this, even encourages turning away at such moments. Now, Daddy, I think I know who Daddy is. I think most people in chat have an idea who Daddy is, but it's really, really funny to see this. Really funny to see this. I mean, let's see how many. I'm gonna wait to see. Okay, I want to see how many people out of the next 10 people who guess it correctly in chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, basically everyone guesses it correctly. Everyone guesses it correctly. Okay, let's keep going. Yes. I mean, you know what's hilarious? Organizes new tournaments. What even is he talking about? Like, let's be real. What is he talking about? Chess.com has cut down on the number of professional tournaments. There are 2 Chess Champions Tour events. Before there were 4 or 5. There's still Title Tuesday ×2. Arena Kings is not really what it once was. I mean, Freestyle Friday is very minimal prizes. Like, what is he even talking about? Like, chess.com has legitimately cut down on the number of top level tournaments that are happening on the site. And here he's saying there are new tournaments, more money for everybody. Like, I mean, it's just wrong. It's just factually wrong. Okay, and if the boss needs it, we'll even sign an angry lying letter. Who dared to call out the names of thieves and scoundrels? These are our thieves and scoundrels. Order is order, and get your hands off our beloved daddy. Again, from the classics, where am I going to eat? You know, a certain someone should go out there and get a shirt, get one of those daddy shirts. It's like, who's your daddy, or something like that, and wear it when they post again on social media. Where am I going to eat? I'm sorry, good gentlemen, but my conscience is more important to me than the opinion of the crowd. I'm not going to change my principles for the sake of her favor. It's not about principles, it's about being wrong. Now, without irony, the facts, and only the facts, almost the entire chess world has been quietly and silently watching for a couple of years without exaggeration. Okay, a massive mockery of me, which is only gaining momentum every day. Now it has tripled when Papik is under threat of exposure. The entire royal army went into battle for their generous monarch. Many, like the genius of Home Blitz, spent 40 hours without interruption and deterioration of the quality of the game without any doubt consciously. Another genius, Papik. I don't know who Papik must mean like dad, I guess, in Russian or something. I don't know. Papik's friends and colleagues at the behest of the soul, and she tells you to do any dirty tricks, to be rude, to insult anyone if financial interests are affected. They're good guys anyway. They're eating. Well, the only problem with that is that everyone who's had to deal with this knows that they're not doing what he's claiming. That's the only problem with it. Like it's very easy to create a conspiratorial mindset and think that, oh, everyone's just doing this because they're trying to cover their tracks or whatever. The fact is, people aren't doing that. That's the reality. I mean, just look at my games. I'll tell you guys one little tidbit. You guys want to know how many games of 3-0 Blitz I've won in a row by farming? You guys want to take a guess? I'm on a 40-game win streak at 3-0 Blitz. My rating is 3350. I'm on a 40-game win streak. Statistically, that should not be possible, right? Should not be possible. But I'm on a 40-game win streak at 3-0. If you look at my last set of 3-0 Blitz games, including the 11 out of 11 in the freestyle, I'm on a 31-game win streak. Okay, that doesn't prove anything. That's the reality. Your stats are shit. Full stop. Okay, maybe I shouldn't use a curse word, but there you go. I did use a curse word. It's complete rubbish, complete nonsense. So let's keep going. It's been going for 2 years. How is nobody bored? Like, I don't ask me. So let's keep going. Okay, and they will praise publicly, in addition, shake hands and smile secretly, despisingly. They know that daddy will wean them from the feeder quickly, if anything, so everything is under control. Yes, some, like one Eastern European darling, are more likely sincere in a fight. All means are good. You can shamelessly lie, and when caught, play the innocent victim. The conductor will support you. The orchestra will play along as needed. Gens una sumus. Now, this is really sad because the Eastern European darling, like, it's not about being a darling. The reality is you have somebody who is greatly affected by what was going on. Someone who is greatly affected by it. You someone who's greatly affected by it, and you know, this is what happens when you put out all these stats. You say interesting and everything else. Like, fact is, everyone feels like they're under suspicion. That's just the reality of it. That's just the reality. End of the day, they feel like they're under suspicion, and of course they're going to react that way. You know, Kramnik continuously forgets who he is. He forgets that he's a former world champion. He forgets that he's someone of great prominence in the world of chess, or he was, I should say, because I don't think he is anymore. But he was someone of great prominence. A lot, you know, if you have that WC world champion title, that carries a lot of gravitas. So anybody who gets caught up in it immediately is going to have that thought when that's all you've been doing for the last 2 years. That's just the reality. End of story. Slander, dirty insults, outright provable lies are pouring out of the sweet mouths of daddy's lackeys and those who want to take their place under the sun. Sorry, May French. Under the loud silence of the moral lambs, many of whom are ready to defend the slanderers, even to please the public opinion, which creates a community of influencers sitting on daddy's money. You know what else is really funny about this? You know what else is really funny about this whole thing? Is that he acts like someone. Daddy is like the big boss. Daddy does not even own like a majority share of chess.com. Like, I mean, daddy is not even the CEO of chess.com. Like, daddy is just daddy. I mean, he's not the all-powerful guy at the top, the mafia boss who like runs everything. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy actually to see this. Crazy. Stepdad at best. Yeah, so let's keep going. I have the dignity to not play the victim like many of the chess crowd, even though there are 10 times. This, by the way, this is just, I mean, I don't know what the word is for this. This is cognitive dissonance or just like paranoia. This is just flat out insane. This is actually just flat out insane. That's what I'm going to say. This is insane, legitimately insane. Like, I mean, we know that he's playing the victim here, completely playing the victim. He's literally saying, daddy's out to get him. Daddy's out to get me. Daddy's out to get me. All his lackeys are out to get me. They're all slandering me. They're all insulting me. They're all being rude. They're out to get me. Daddy. Let's keep going. I mean, let's be real. And at the same time, there's not the slightest desire to play this fake, hypocritical game according to the rules of which you can do anything. Slander, lie, steal from colleagues, just not tell the truth. Daddy doesn't like it. He can punish. Yes. Therefore, I will continue my attempts to change the chess world in accordance with my conscience and principles, no matter what anyone says. This is not the first time I've been the target of dirty PR, attack, slander, and meanness. I already experienced it 20 years ago. Some immunity was already developed then. I don't know why this page is suddenly different. Sorry, suddenly the page is all different, so I'll just read it. I don't know why it's chopped. Is the next one big like this? Oh, now it changed? What? Oh, now it changed. That's really weird. I don't know why it's suddenly changed as you go to the next page. Okay, there we go. Wait, which page was I on? Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. I'll just make it big like this. I think you guys can see this. I don't know why the font suddenly changed for these last 2 pages, but it did. This is not the first time I've been the target of dirty PR attacks, slander, and meanness. I already experienced it 20 years ago. Some immunity was already developed then, but from now on, I will punish any slanderer legally, make them responsible for their words and actions if they do not understand another language. Normal human persuasions to stop lying and messing up don't work, as we can see from the current epic, and I will defend myself and my family, no matter how many collective letters of work in the style of something I do not read, but I condemn. They do not publish. We'll have to expose Daddy and his minions. Gotta expose Daddy. Cure the chess world of this virus. Apparently it won't be long now. With respect and friendly greetings, Vladimir. Now, that's just insane, actually. Like, legitimately just kind of crazy. That's just wild, actually. Like, that's just legit, like, wild. That's just wild. That's all that I think really I can say. We did get through the art. We did get through it. I have no doubt there's going to be more nonsense everywhere in the near future, probably, but it is what it is. Titled, Who's Your Daddy? Yes, Who's Your Daddy? Yeah, I mean, but you know, the thing also I would say separately, you know, the fact of the matter is, like, I think a lot of people have forgotten that this all started when he decided to go after me. Like, he's like, oh, all these interesting streaks, everything else. And, you know, when he did that, that actually had a big effect on me. I've spoken about it before, but when that happened originally, that was right before the start of the Chess Champions Tour in 2023 in Toronto. And that had a major effect. I was able to claw my way back and finish, I think, in 5th place in the Chess Champions Tour final. But, like, I did very badly. I played much worse than I usually would because of all this nonsense, because like it comes from out of left field and you're like, WTF, what is this nonsense? What's going on? Like that's what's going on, and it's just insane. It's just actually insane. So, you know, the other thing I would add, the final little bit that I find interesting is I'm surprised that what it took for this to become what it is now. What it took for it to reach this stage is that it took it actually, yeah, I mean, what it took very specifically a guy who, like, I mean, this is nothing against David Navarre. I love you. You have a guy who's autistic, a guy who took this very hard, considered, he said that he considered committing suicide. I mean, it was very, very heavy. It surprised me that this is what it took in order for, it seems like, other top players to speak up about this issue. That's what surprised me about the whole thing, is that this is what it took for it to finally happen, because it's already been going on for 2 years. It's been going on for 2 years. And, like, I think it's mostly David Navarre is probably the most innocent person you'll ever see. You know, he plays chess. He's like a polyglot. He speaks a bunch of languages. A very, very friendly guy. Does not have a really negative or like evil body in his bone. Like, he has no, like, there are no ulterior motives, intentions, anything. He's about as plain as it gets. And it surprised me that this is what it took. However, to draw another analogy, because I'm gonna be not really political perhaps at the moment, but I will say I'll try to you know, do my political streamer bit here. Is that, you know, you might not remember this, but what the Kramnik stuff reminds me of is, it reminds me of back in the 1950s. Now, back in the 1950s here in America, you know, there's a thing called communism. Right now, we're afraid of communism. We're afraid of Commie Mamdani in New York. We don't want to become mayor. He's going to ruin New York City. Back in the 50s, there was this whole communist witch hunt, because, you know, it was the US, the USSR, this whole Soviet thing, and you know, it went on for a very long time as well. But it reached this point where I think it was this lawyer, I think it was Joseph Lynch, I think was his name, at one of the hearings with McCarthy, I think in like I remember listening to this tape, I think it was 53 or 54, but there was this whole Red Scare, and finally what it took for everybody to ultimately turn and realize that this witch hunt against everybody that was being done by Senator Joseph McCarthy was when this lawyer Joseph Lynch said, you know, have you no decency? And what I would say about what's going on right now is very similar. So we finally have reached that moment. I think we're at the point of have you no decency. or it's have you no sense of decency. Sorry, have you no sense of decency is the actual saying. And it's one of those things where I think we finally reached that, but I think it's also very, very late. I think it's a shame that none of the other top players were speaking up before. When people like myself or Daniel or Jose or any of us were dealing with this. So I think it's a great shame that none of the other players are speaking up about it, and in fact some of them were indulging in this. So that's very disappointing. But at any rate, you know, I think that pretty much everybody is tired of this. I don't think anybody anybody wants to see any more of this. Is what I would say. Any more of this. That's the bottom line. So yeah, it's really a shame, but that's that.